Okay, these are guided notes over el preterito, or the preterite, which is speaking in the past, one way to speak in the past in Spanish. So up top, you can either use digital annotation to fill this out along with the video, or you can print this out and fill it out and take photos of it as JPEGs or PDF and load it to Canvas. Nombre y apellido, name, last name, fecha, the date. In Spanish, we conjugate or change the endings of verbs in order to say who is doing the action and when the action is done. So in the present tense, we've practiced that a lot last year and just practiced it recently. He or she talks would be habla in the present tense. I talk, hablo. We talk, hablamos. So the stem of the word is habl, which means to speak. Hablar is to speak. We're just taking off the endings and adding endings to say who's doing the action and when it was done. So there are many different tenses in Spanish and in English. Some tenses are used to describe present action, as in the above examples. Others describe past action. Others describe future action. Still others describe possible or hypothetical action, which is called the subjunctive in Spanish. There's 3 different moods. Okay. The preterite tense is one of the tenses that is used to describe past action. Specifically, it is used to talk about things that happen at a specific time. In the past, all actions that are described using the preterite tense have a clear beginning and a clear end. They started and ended in the past. So they are what we call completed actions. And it doesn't matter if they were completed on one day on the calendar or if it happened over a time frame, as long as it's completed. So an example, I went to the store. We ate ice cream together. Did you find the book? He ran in the track meet. As with the present tense, there are different preterite tense endings for verbs that end in AR, like hablar, and verbs that end in ER or IR, like comer or vivir. There are also irregular. Verbs that do not follow the same conjugation patterns as regular verbs do. Here are some words that will help you talk about the past in Spanish. Now, these are specific to the preterite because there's other words like a veces, sometimes, words like that are siempre, always, that are another type of past tense called the imperfect. But these are one and done is what they say, completed action. So words like ayer, if you did something yesterday, you would be in the preterite. So these words will help you figure out whether you're going to be using preterite or imperfect, because the next endings to learn are imperfect, which is also past tense, but a little bit different. Anoche, those are continual past actions. Anoche, last night. It's good to get familiar with these. Entonces, then. La semana pasada, last week. Pasada is the last part of that. El mes pasado, last month. Esta mañana, this morning. Hace, and then what your time frame is. So hace is the way to say ago in Spanish. So hace dos días, 2 days ago. Hace un año, a year ago. El otro día, the other day. De repente, suddenly. So whenever you see or use these words, that will indicate to you you're going to need to be in the preterite, not the imperfect. Completed past actions, not continual past actions. So let's look at the regular preterite tense endings for AR verbs. These are AR verbs only. And we'll practice these a little bit and add ER-IR verbs. So your endings, if you don't have these memorized, these subject pronouns memorized yet, you should definitely be working on these and memorize them. So yo is one, like on your thumb, pointing back to yourself. Two is you informal. El, he, ella, she, usted, you formal is conjugation block number 3. Nosotros is we, conjugation block number 4. Ellos, ellas, ustedes is they or you all, conjugation block number 5. We will not be doing vosotros. So yo, I, the ending is going to be a with an accent. And you have to type this accent. Otherwise, it could look like third person, ER, present tense conjugation. The accents are very important. 2, you, informal. 2, you. Aste. Notice in present and preterite, there's S's. Even when you look at imperfect and future, you'll see an S as an indicator for the 2. El, ella, usted, all 3 of these belong in conjugation block 3. This is very important to use an accent here. It's O with an accent. Without the accent, it just looks like present tense yo form, because remember, those are all O's in the present tense for yo. So accent here for the yo on the A, accent here on the O. 4, amos. This looks just like present tense, so you'll have to know by context. Ellos, ellas, ustedes is they or you all, and this ending is aron for conjugation block number 5. Notice there's an N. N's are plural. No matter where you're at, present tense, preterite, imperfect, future, you'll always see an N there for plurality. Speaking of which, remember this side of the conjugation blocks are singular. Over here on the right, a la derecha, they're plural. People. Okay. So notice that the nosotros ending is the same in both present and preterite tenses. This means that you need to use contextual clues. Contextual clues to determine which tense is being used when you read or hear a verb that ends in amos. Okay, so let's use the verb chart to help us answer the remaining questions on this page. So it says, write the meaning of these sentences in English. So number 1 here is hablé con mi amigo. Now they underline hablo because that tells you speak. Well, who's doing the speaking and when it was done? That's the ending here. So E with an accent. If you go up here in the chart, well, E with an accent would be yo. So that's I spoke in English. I spoke with my friend. Try to pause the video and figure these out on your own and then hit play and see if you got them right, and you can correct your answers for submittal. Caminaste a casa, number 2. Camin, the root of that word, caminar, it's an AR verb, means to walk. So who's walking a casa, to the house? Aste. So see up here, aste in your charting is 2. So this is you walked to the house. You informal. You walked to the house. Third one. Gritó a su hermano. Well, gritar means to yell or scream. So who's doing the yelling and screaming? It's either él, ella, or usted. So we're not sure if it was he or she, so we'll just write it like this. Or you formal, but it could be either one. She, he yelled at. Su would be his or her. His or her. Hermano, brother. Okay. Lloraron en el cine. Number 4. Llorar means to cry. So who's doing the crying? It's plural. They are. Or you all are. We'll just say they. They cried. because it's past tense in the movie. Okay, our next examples. This also says, notice that the endings of the verbs, they tell you who did the action and that the action was done in the past. The stem, the first underlined part of the verb, tells you what that person did. So it tells you the verb first, and then the ending is who did it and when it was done. Okay, next part. Conjugate these verbs using the verb chart. All right, try to do this on your own. Pause the video and then hit play to check your answers for submittal and correction. She talked. Okay, we've got hablar as our ending, so we need to write the stem first. If you want to write she, you can. You do not have to. This part you do not have to write. But ella, it would be she, talked. So our stem for to talk is habl. That's talk. Now who's doing the talking? She did in the past, preterite. So let's go up to our chart and see the she is here. A on conjugation block 3 and O with an accent. So ella habló with an accent. It would not be correct if you did not have the accent, because hablo was I talk. Habló with the accent and the inflection in your voice is she talked. All right, number 2. They jumped. Saltar. So verb conjugation, take off your ending. They, ellos. You do not have to write ellos. Jumped. Salt is jump. Now, who jumped? They did in the past. Jumped. So, salt. And there's ellos. Conjugation block 5. Aron. Saltaron. Number 3. We thought. Pensar. We is nosotros. Thought. Pence. There's your stem. You take off your ending. And now nosotros is the same as present tense. Amos. Pensamos. I cried. Llorar. Your. I would be yo. Your. AR verb. Preterite. E with an accent for yo. Right here. So yo lloré. I cried. You sang. Let's say that's you informal. So to sang. Cant. That's sing. Now who sang and when it was done? Whoops. To is haste. Come down here to cantaste. Okay, so that's the basic mechanics of preterite verb conjugation with just AR verbs. Complete the worksheet and submit on Canvas for 10 points, please. Gracias.